Going to give him even more of the workload.
Oh, an onside kick.
Hello folks, welcome to the first episode of the Big Ten in 10, a show where I will review the key moments and players in every Big Ten football game in under 10 minutes. At least I'll try to. If I have to go over and say the episode is 14 minutes long, this is a Big Ten conference after all, who's keeping count? Anyways, let's get right into our first game. Talk this offseason in Nebraska is centered around one man, Matt Rhule. In previous collegiate stints at Temple and Baylor, he turned barely competitive programs into double-digit win powerhouses in just 3 years. And then, the Panthers happened. Like many college football coaches that go pro, he faltered, getting himself fired after just 5 games with a 1-4 record. And it wasn't just a roster skill issue either, as the Panthers played 500 balls since his departure. Which Matt Rhule will Nebraska get? He'll certainly have some tools to work with Georgia transfers, tight end Eric Gilbert and linebacker MJ Sherman, new dual threat Georgia Tech transfer QB Jeff Sims, as well as freshman phenom wide receiver Malachi Coleman, along with 9 other Power 5 transfers. Minnesota, for their part, will have to reckon with the departure of record-setting running back Mohamed Ibrahim and quarterback Tanner Morgan. Minnesota was second in the Big Ten in rushing yards and tutties thanks to Ibrahim, but was only 12th in passing yards. Quarterback Ardan Kaliakmanis and East Michigan transfer running back Sean Tyler will attempt to fill that void, but the receiver room will definitely need to take a larger role in this offense, especially with some major question marks on the defensive front seven. Minnesota was the 13th in sacks last year. These two Big West rivals in transition will have a go at it to kick off the Big Ten play for the Broken Chair Bowl. Well folks, it's great to have Big Ten football back. The score at halftime is 3-0. After PJ Fleck elected not to go for it on 4th down in the Nebraska red zone, and a costly interception to end the half by Jeff Sims following a false start penalty when they had rushed basically to the goal line but just came a bit short. The third quarter begins with a great return by Ramir Johnson to get Nebraska within field goal range. Now watch this play. Okay, who wants to be a millionaire? Big Ten edition. What happens next? 1. Jeff Sims recovers the ball but is sacked. 2. Jeff Sims does not recover the ball, and Minnesota gains possession. 3. Minnesota is able to return this for a touchdown. Or 4. This play results in a Nebraska touchdown. Somehow.
Sims can't grab it, and he does finally delivers! It's a touchdown! Wow! Alex Bullock!
Just how Matt Rhule drew it up. After another interception, followed by a great missed tackle and a big run by Irvin, Nebraska kicks another field goal. They are up by a touchdown. Minnesota is unable to really move the ball. Kaliakmanis doesn't look completely terrible, but he just can't break through. Especially not with an offensive line that allows 8 plays for negative yardage. Nebraska does not have to do much to win this game. And then, disaster strikes. Minnesota has the football at midfield. After a face mask penalty and a nice drive, it is 4th and 10.
Kaliakmanis looking in zone. Touchdown!
Daniel Jackson, a broken chair trophy hero. You see, here's the thing. Some casual SEC fans can't comprehend how a game that is 10-10 at the late end of the 4th quarter can be a fun game. But this is what Big Ten football is all about. Whenever you get a new set of downs, the line to gain feels like a mile away. You feel that despite the crushing defense, that just one thing can go right, and you're right back in it. All it takes is one player to clutch up, and the game can change on a dime. This is Big Ten football, and if you don't think this game is fun, then you can't call yourself a Big Ten football fan. Don't worry, Nebraska still has 2 minutes 30 seconds to get downfield, get the game winning field goal, and he threw an interception. And now Minnesota kicked the game-winning field goal.
Clean snap, good hole, got it up, and it's good. And Minnesota comes back to win.
I'll say this to Minnesota fans, congratulations. You found a way to win against all odds, and you deserve to enjoy the night. Nebraska fans, I'm on the Twitters, I'm on the Reddits of the world, and I've been seeing a lot of doomerism surrounding Matt Rule and the general direction of this team, and I get the frustration. There were multiple opportunities Nebraska had to pull away where they blew it. Jeff Sims, in crucial moments, looks like a glorified running back out there. Nebraska had an equal amount of touchdowns this week as they did to tight ends breaking into vape shops. Not making that up. I will remind you, though, Matt Rule, in his first year at Temple was no good. They were like 2-10, I believe. Baylor was barely better. Let Matt Rule cook just a little bit longer. Yes, the NFL, that definitely is a stain on his legacy, but you gotta give it time. It takes time for products to defrost, as you might say.
Fight.
Ohio State has one of the most stacked wide receiver rooms in the country, led by Heisman hopeful Marvin Harrison Jr. And with Corbin Edwards dominating up north, don't sleep on running back duo Mayan Williams and Travion Henderson. The thing that gives me a little pause with this Ohio State team is the O-line and the QB situation. Like it or not, if you couldn't beat Michigan with Stroud twice, the burden of proof is now on Ohio State to prove that they're the best in the conference. That should start by curb-stomping their Week 1 foe, the Hoosiers. After stealing a win versus Illinois Week 1 last year, they were the punching bag of the conference, only escaping with a 3-overtime win against Michigan State. Indiana had the dubious honor of having a grand total of 0 players selected in the NFL draft. There weren't a lot of bright spots last year, so what did Coach Allen do? Brought in a crap ton of transfers. Indiana had a top 30 transfer portal class. Tanan Jackson, the Tennessee transfer QB, is a low-floor, high-ceiling kind of prospect, while the host of defensive transfers headlined by Andre Carter from Central Michigan might bring some excitement back to this defense. Ohio State fans better count their lucky stars that they got to face Indiana, because the offensive line, while they didn't give up any sacks, they were able to get to McCord and/or Brown pretty easily. Speaking of, it was assumed going into this game that McCord and Brown in the Ohio State QB competition would get equal snaps, an equal chance to audition for themselves. But as the game didn't exactly become the blowout that Ryan Day hoped it would, they stuck with Kyle McCord. That no touchdowns for Ohio State in the passing game. They only had 2 touchdowns, 2 rushes by Mayan Williams, who only had 25 yards. Ohio State would pretty much pull away. The much-hyped defense did do all you could ask them to, holding Indiana to 3 points. Ohio State better get that offensive line issue fixed before Chop Robinson and Penn State come to town in October.
Fight.
Things have officially hit rock bottom for Northwestern. They went 11-1 last year, winless in out-of-conference play. They also haven't had a lot of transfers in, and had a good deal of the talent they did have go to the NFL. You would think things couldn't get any worse this program. What's that sound I hear in the distance? Hazing. An all-too-common horror story on American college campuses. I really shouldn't have to explain why it's bad. Like, I get if you're running an organization, you want people to have some skin in the game, but like, come on, if whatever organization you're a part of requires actions like this, then really think about what kind of value and what kind of example you're setting that you're producing for the rest of the world and for your community. Anyways, I've put some links to Anti-Hazing Charities in the description below. I've already donated some of my tithe money there, but for those of you interested in helping out this cause, there are some links in the description. Anyways, let's get back to football. After the allegations, several freshmen have since decommitted from the program. Pat Fitzgerald was fired for being complicit in allowing hazing to continue and even encouraging it in some cases. Interim head coach David Braun has a hell of a job ahead of him. At this point, going 4-8 would seem like a huge success for the program this year. For Rutgers, this game seems like a must-win. After getting bushwhacked by Minnesota, fourth-year head coach Greg Schiano poached their offensive coordinator Kirk Carioca. Gavin Williams entered his second year. With an experienced defense that showed flashes last year, there is a bit of optimism for full eligibility at Piscataway, if Wimsatt can keep the turnovers down. But if you can't beat a downtrodden Northwestern team at home, well then who exactly are you going to beat? Fortunately, Rutgers will not have to worry about this, as they absolutely destroyed Northwestern. 2 interceptions, 5 sacks, 24-7 your final score. Rutgers allowed 12 rushing yards the whole game. This was domination of the highest order. Northwestern was able to put Rutgers into several third and fourth down situations, but especially in the first half, they answered the bell every time. The offensive line was an unexpected bright spot for Rutgers, giving up 0 sacks and only 2 tackles for loss. Gavin Wimsatt had a QBR of 81.9. Rutgers did not look half bad today. Most of it is probably Northwestern being bad. But hey, as a Rutgers student, we'll take any win over a Big Ten program that we can get. We'll see if Rutgers can continue to do this against publicly funded Big Ten teams. And as for Northwestern, I just feel bad for you guys. It's not looking good. That Northwestern locker room seems to like Mike Braun, so maybe he can build up something. You have chances against UTEP and Howard. I say chances because, hey, the way Northwestern played today, they could drop both of those games. Besides those 2 games, though, not looking too good. Maybe you can beat Purdue? Let's take a look at some of the out-of-conference games Big Ten teams played. On Friday, Michigan State beat Central Michigan 31-7, a game that looked close for about 2.5 quarters, and then Michigan State was able to pull away. Michigan beat East Carolina 30-3, no App State upset there, despite what some people on YouTube comment section might think. Iowa beat Utah State 24-14, Cade McNamara looking pretty good there. Fresno State upset Purdue 39-35. Maybe Purdue was just the beneficiary of a very weak Big Ten West last year, because Fresno State offense, they got to him and got to him good. And with the first-year head coach, they were going to be growing pains, but I didn't expect Purdue's defense to just lay down like that. Wisconsin beat Buffalo pretty handedly, ditto for Maryland versus Towson, and Penn State, West Virginia. I was watching that Penn State-West Virginia game. That Penn State defensive front looks on point. They were straight bullying West Virginia. And finally, Illinois, on a last-second field goal, was able to beat Toledo. Altmaier was kind of hot-cold throughout most of the game, but just look at this incredible 4th down pass of the game on the line.
It's McCray in the backfield. It's Altmaier on 4th down, heaving it down the sideline. On a hand fighting, catch is made! Casey Washington! Chris McDonald had the best coverage he could possibly have, and Washington caught it.
It's the stuff of beauty, and Illinois was able to win the game, so only one Big Ten team didn't carry its weight representing the conference, that being the Purdue Boilermakers. Looking around the top 25, the only major upset of note this week was TCU Colorado, where the Deion Sanders-led Buffaloes upset TCU, which was the second-best team in the nation last year. Big upset, and Nebraska better get ready and mentally prepare themselves for another one-score loss. There are 2 other games that are not completed as of the time this video coming out. I'll cover them next week. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And have a great week, Big Ten Nation.